Any chance we see a ton of MVP votes for Jalen Brunson? I think he deserves it, Howard. I think he totally deserves it. What do you think?
Is the question whether? Yeah, I mean, the question whether he gets a lot of is on a lot of ballots somewhere in the 1 through 5, or are you asking does he actually get some number ones?
Number ones, and I understand shiny objects get covered and shiny objects in New York get revered, and sometimes there's a bias towards it, but. Straight up, man. I mean, this team banged up. They get OG Anunoby. He hardly plays. Julius Randle's gone. This is a team that, famously, Kenny Smith from LeFrak City, too. Not that should mean that it should have anything to do with his analysis, but he's like the Knicks never have the best player on the court, and you could make the case he was the best player in the Eastern Conference the last 2 months. They're a 50-win, 2-seed team, and the reason why has to be because of what Brunson did and put the team on his shoulders and got it done.
Jalen Brunson's been absolutely incredible. And if you had asked anybody around the NBA 2-3 months ago, certainly going back to the start of the season, whether Jalen Brunson would be in an MVP conversation and all NBA, one of the top all NBA spots, I think people would have said, he's really good, but yeah, calm down. You're getting ahead of yourself. But if you watch the season Jalen Brunson just had, holy moly, everything you just said, Rich, he's been absolutely incredible. He will be on my MVP ballot, but he will not be at the top of my MVP ballot. And I think that the race, as it has shaped up over the course of the season, between Jokic, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and Luka, I think that group, the cases for them are just stronger. And I say that versus Brunson. I say that versus Giannis. I would say that versus Tatum or anybody else, Anthony Edwards. There are always a lot of guys who are really worthy of being in the quote-unquote conversation. But it's a 5-person ballot. Obviously, it's weighted, and, you adjust as you go. And to me, the definition of MVP is some version of outstanding individual season on an outstanding team, a team that is a plausible contender for the title. And, you kind of adjust that as you go. And every year, the field's a little bit different, too. But there is nothing in Jokic's case, individually or team-wise, that would suggest that he shouldn't be one of the top 3 spots. And on my ballot, probably number 1. We have to file those in, let's see, 4.5 hours.
Oh, boy.
Less than 4.5 hours.
Okay.
So there's still time to talk me out of it.
Well, I'm trying to talk you into Brunson. I'm obviously I'm coming from it with a hint of bias, but truly, what he has done and what he's turned himself into and what he continues to get better. I can't wait to see what he does in these playoffs. Certainly, if they take on the Sixers to start, a good old fashioned, Amtrak series here, man. Like that, that would particularly interest me.
That would be a blast.
Right.
Knicks Sixers would be a blast. And just obviously, very different. When one team built around Joel Embiid, an absolute giant, literally, figuratively, and otherwise, versus a team built around Brunson. Yeah, I mean, listen, the playoffs will obviously have no bearing because the ballots will be in by then. The MVP thing is funny, Rich, just because everybody comes to it with their own sensibility and their own definition of what it is. And if you want to say what's the most impressive feat this season by one player, you could say that the most impressive thing done was Jalen Brunson getting the Knicks to 50 wins and the 2 spot in the East. And I wouldn't probably argue the point. But MVP brings in a lot of different elements, and it is, to an extent, a team award as well, in the sense that the vast majority of MVPs over the last 35 years, there have been a couple of exceptions, have been great players who had absolutely outstanding seasons, packed the box score every night, and were on outstanding teams that were among the favorites to win the title. I think that could the Knicks make a run? Yes. Do I expect that? No, because of all the injuries that they've gotten, and without Randle, they don't really have a clear second option. That's not Brunson's fault, but again, MVP has always combined elements of both individual and team success. So if anybody wants to make the argument for Brunson up top, I'd listen to it, and I think there is a compelling case. But you have to explain why you would put him over Jokic, why you'd put him over Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Luka Doncic. And I think that's a really tough bar to clear for anybody.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.